And Martinelli is away here. Gabriel Martinelli to equalise! What a goal! What a run by the teenager!
Arsenal have had some fantastic Brazilians on their books down the years, so it was nice to see David Luiz and Gabriel Martinelli follow in their footsteps last summer. This week I thought I'd take the opportunity to assess how the South American duo have fared so far. It's a Brazilian New Boys Breakdown Special. Let's talk Gabriel Martinelli now. And before we get to the 10 goals he's scored so far this season, I think it's well worth analysing what else the teenager brings to the table. Hunger and energy are two words that immediately spring to mind when discussing Martinelli's strengths. For a forward player, he has excellent defensive application. When operating on the left wing, his work rate has really helped the team. The 18-year-old seems to enjoy recycling possession. He combines that aggression with nimble footwork too. From this turnover, the way he manufactures space to get his shot away is impressive. It shows how rounded Martinelli's game already is. And this clip showcases the traits I've just mentioned. The Brazilian displays real desire, outstanding pace, and also no shortage of skill to turn a hopeful pass into a goal-scoring opportunity. Much like the Arsenal captain, Martinelli has proved he can score goals as a central striker or as a left winger. His knack for being in the right positions and his calmness in front of goal make him such an exciting prospect. Martinelli drifts into goal-scoring positions with a sense of ease and is really clinical when chances arrive. His Premier League conversion rate is 30%. He's not the tallest, but Martinelli scores headers too. This near-post finish was just wonderful, and the timing of his run to meet this early cross was perfect, as was the masterful control of his header. And this looping header has an element of bravery as well. Unfazed by the onrushing keeper, he never looked like missing. When the rookie forward smells the chance of a goal inside the box, he comes alive. He's a very instinctive finisher. Most of Martinelli's appearances have been on the left of Arsenal's attack, and it's a position that seems to suit him. Here are some reasons why it's clicked. First and foremost, Martinelli is excellent in 1v1 situations and happy to use his speed to drive past defenders. This vital assist against Southampton showed his fearlessness. More direct than most natural wingers, the youngster can be a handful for opposing fullbacks. His crossing needs work, especially on his left foot, but that will come in time. The 18-year-old is a fast learner too. In no space of time, he's realised when to make the right runs from out to in. In this clash at West Ham, his smart movement earned him a key goal. It happens again here against Sheffield United, where Martinelli pops up in a central striker's position. When he times the moments to drift inside correctly, the forward is hard to pick up. The Brazilian also loves playing alongside fellow whiz kid Bukayo Saka. The teenagers have struck up a lovely rapport on the left, and that partnership is one we hope to see plenty more of in the months and years to come. The jump from regional football in Brazil to the Premier League stage is gigantic, but Martinelli has made it look ridiculously easy. The reasons? Talent and temperament. None of us will easily forget this moment he conjured up at Stamford Bridge, scampering down the spine of the pitch to slay Chelsea all by himself. It was actually the last Premier League goal he notched, but other outstanding goals are bound to follow. He's a big-time player. Capable of scoring all types of goals, Martinelli is sure to be part of Mikel Arteta's long-term planning. It appears Arsenal have unearthed a real gem in the shape of Martinelli. He's a young man that exudes star quality. Distribution has always been an integral part of David Luiz's play, and since his arrival, Arsenal have benefited from that new dimension. Let's take a look at some examples. Only 3 Premier League defenders have made more accurate long passes than the Brazilian, who drills the ball with real confidence. Having a defensive player that can drop long balls in behind an opposition rearguard for our forwards to control really helps the Gunners gain territory. And Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is often the player that gives David Luiz a run to aim for. Their long-range link-ups regularly catch the eye. Here, the centre-back slides a gorgeous pass in between Everton defenders to release the skipper in behind for a classy and important goal at Emirates Stadium. And because the defender is such a progressive passer, the efficiency of Arsenal's build-ups from back to front has a welcome new strand. David Luiz came into a defensive unit that was suffering under Unai Emery, and this made his settling in process much tougher than he would have liked. Early on, it wasn't plain sailing. During those first couple of months, Arsenal were open and vulnerable without the ball, and this put the experienced Brazil international into a number of awkward positions, and he did make mistakes. He was especially nervous about being exposed for pace on counter-attacks, and a byproduct of that meant we saw David Luiz drop into some exceptionally deep positions. During that acclimatisation period, the Gunners were very stretched as a side. When you're feeling apprehensive about your own game, it's easy to be distracted. Here, he turned his back on a brightly taken free kick, and seconds later, Southampton scored. Coming into a team unit that was so fragile defensively was a real test, even for a player of David Luiz's vast experience. Central defenders usually thrive in stable partnerships, and that's something David Luiz has unfortunately yet to really experience as an Arsenal player. In 32 starts across all competitions, the Brazilian has had 8 different sets of centre-back partners. He's played in the back 4 and the back 3. He's operated on the left and right-hand sides, and also once in central midfield. David Luiz has also had 4 different left-backs operating outside him over the course of that period too. Socrates has been the Brazilian's most frequent partner. There was promise in his pairing with Pablo Mari, but overall I'd say he's been at his best alongside Shkodran Mustafi. Looking ahead, I'm sure he'd love to develop a regular partnership. Before the season was interrupted, David Luiz had been looking more and more assured in the red and white of Arsenal. His form since early December has been strong. Gaining confidence in himself and the team, the South American's calmness began to shine through. He was reading situations with an assertive mindset and dominating the centre forwards he was asked to shackle. When he takes charge of situations with greater authority, he's a top player. The 33-year-old started stepping forward to shrink space more often than he dropped off, which made a positive difference. And in moments where Arsenal have really needed him, the central defender has stepped up to the plate with contributions that owe plenty to his nous. None of Arteta's players have made more clearances or blocks than the veteran, whose sound defending has ensured Bernd Leno has been less busy of late. David Luiz also has a wise head at set pieces. This goal at home to Bournemouth came from his alertness of what was going on around him inside the box. They're at opposite ends of their careers, but both Brazilians have made a real impact in their debut seasons. After a sticky start, David Luiz's strong personality is coming through nicely, and his teenage compatriot has exceeded expectations in a pretty staggering way. Over the course of the last 9 months, Gabriel Martinelli's stock has risen sharply. When Arsenal do return to action, both these South Americans are bound to be keen.